Hello everyone, welcome. Today we are talking about XRP and the lack of media coverage of what is building up. So let me tell you the facts. XRP is the highest gainer in the top 20 since November, has the highest amount of ETF filings, and Ripple is making major institutional moves, position XRP as that ultimate bridge currency. And this really isn't being documented in the mainstream media, and I want to go into everything today. So if you are a holder of XRP or just enjoy watching the XRP videos, be sure to leave a like down below, stay around to the end. With that said, let's get straight into the video. Okay, so a quick reminder for every video that we do that this is not financial advice and for entertainment purposes only. Nothing in cryptocurrency is guaranteed and you could lose all of your money. Stay safe and do your own research. Now, the first thing I want to get into here is that Ripple is quietly taking over the infrastructure, right? Ripple is putting millions to work to buy up companies that are changing the way that banks deal with assets. And this is the future, right? Crypto companies pooling crypto funds together to acquire real life businesses. And while most media outlets stay silent, we can see one of Ripple's biggest backers, SBI, mention the acquisition of Hidden Road. Remember, this is not a partnership, it's an acquisition of Prime Brokerage, and it lines up with Osaka plans in Japan. So Ripple is truly evolving into an all-in-one institutional provider with the XRP ledger built for large-scale financial use. Ripple custody, right? We saw us begin when they got into the custody market with Metico and getting into HSBC and other banks like Standard Chartered, many more. Also acquiring Standard Custody and Trust, which they hold one of the 9 New York licensed crypto trust charters from the NYDFS, one of the strictest regulators in the US. And it adds to Ripple's portfolio of nearly 40 money transmitter licenses across the US. We also have RLUSD, a fully regulated USD backed stablecoin, Hidden Road, enabling institutional rails, which in turn makes Ripple a global network, connecting hundreds of banks and financial institutions. And what's great about Hidden Road, if they can manage to get the prime brokerage to use RLUSD, it would convince a lot of institutions to transact on the XRP ledger, where XRP can capture a lot of that value. And that will make XRP the ultimate bridge currency, right? They clear 3 trillion annually with 300 top institutional customers. And many believe that banks, institutions wait until there's complete regulatory clarity, but it's already begun for Ripple, right? They have a platinum membership in the American Bankers Association, direct access to 4,000 plus US banks who have 18 trillion safeguarded. And when it comes to the partnership between Ripple and banks, it's always been heavily speculated, but this membership signals that they are at the heart of the inner circle. Moving on to the second point of today's video is that they underestimate the ETF inflows. It's not priced in, not even close. And when a leveraged product, not even a spot ETF, does 5 million in terms of volume on the first day, it's a major signal for what's going to come for the actual spot ETF. And even on the second day, we can see strong numbers, strong demand, and people wanting XRP, whether it's a leverage or spot ETF. People want a part of it. And many don't. Many Bitcoin, Ethereum, maximalists, whenever they hear XRP, anything positive, they want it off their feed. They think it is a scam. It truly is one of the most hated rallies out there, and ETF inflows are underestimated. Now let's think about Bitcoin and the beta play that everyone held in their portfolio, Ethereum. Now never say never, but the optimism around Ethereum pre-ETF, where we had predictions 4K by year's end back in 2024, we had 8, 12, even 14K per Ethereum. The opposite happened. Here with XRP, no one wants a part of it. Everyone thinks the inflows are going to be low. It's not going to affect the price. Well, the opposite will probably happen. And this mentality with the majority, the media, is also shown with the digital asset stockpile. Expectations are at an all-time low. The Ripple CEO, Brad Garnhouse, still believes XRP will be included, and I'm going to take his word on it until proven otherwise. And we can also see that they're in talks with the current administration to pay the $50 million fine, potentially an XRP. So would that be added to the stockpile? $50 million worth of XRP. Now we know the deadline has passed for federal agencies to report their Bitcoin and crypto holdings to the Treasury Secretary. We're now around 40 days. So they're either stacking or stalling. So at this stage, we've gone into the ETF, right? Not even the spot one, the leverage one, seeing that's clear demand there. Imagine what's going to come for the actual ETF. We've also spoken about Ripple quietly taking over the infrastructure, becoming a one-stop shop for institutions. RLUSD plays a massive part of that. Right? They're pushing millions daily, not just in the early phase, but we're talking about an enterprise grade regulated USD stablecoin. And they're not just competing with USDT, USDC, they're natively working with XRP and the XRP ledger. And it's completing that final missing piece to the institutional onboarding. And the US Secretary of Treasury stated they are going to keep the US dollar the dominant reserve currency in the world, and they're going to use stablecoins to do that. Stablecoins are backed one to one with the US dollar, sitting in a reserve, transparent bank account. RLUSD fits all of the federal requirements. I also want you to hear a clip from the US Secretary of Treasury.
We will take a close look at regulatory impediments to blockchain, stablecoins, and new payment systems, and we will consider reforms to unleash the awesome power of the American capital markets. Americans deserve a financial services industry that works for all Americans, including and especially Main Street. Under President Trump's leadership, the Treasury Department and I will deliver that to you.
So they are taking a closer look at the regulatory impediments facing blockchain, stablecoins, and payment systems. So what do you think happens to the crypto market cap when the stablecoins by market capitalization is worth trillions, and more importantly XRP, where RLUSD is going to be the Trojan horse for XRP adoption, where it's bringing liquidity to the XRP ledger, more demand for XRP, and becoming the perfect on-ramp for institutional adoption. Now moving on to the final point of the video, what the whales are doing, or more importantly, do not trust what whales or institutions tell you. Watch what they do. Right, an obvious example comes to mind for me is JP Morgan, comparing to the tulip mania, stating they would fire any JP Morgan trader who deals in Bitcoin while simultaneously his bank is trading in digital currency. And there is countless other examples of this behavior, right? From the media, especially in 2020, where they're shouting panic, fear, and collapse, the average investor selling their holdings while whales are buying up like it is a clearance sale, right? It's not a conspiracy theory, it is a pattern. That's why on-chain data is your best friend to see what the whales are actually doing with their holdings. Now, the only nuance to this site here is you can see an increase in the actual wallet holdings, but it could be someone actually accumulating more, going up a bracket, and it could go down. But I think generally, if you're seeing a hard sell-off in the wallets, it's because they're offloading their positions. But here we can see 1,000 to 10,000, that's probably most of retail, steadily accumulating throughout 2025. Again, 10,000 to 100,000 still accumulating their holdings. 100,000 to 1 million, we can actually see a decrease. The biggest decrease, especially about a month ago when we last made a video on the whale wallets. 1 million to 10 million, we can see an increase, steadfast, kind of in the middle there, stagnance. But what's very interesting is the 10 million to 100 million going higher than ever. And it doesn't look like we are entering the final phase just yet, where whales are offloading their positions and retail are still accumulating. Now remember, this is only one indicator. There's things outside of this that dictate the XRP price a lot more in comparison, but it's an indicator we should definitely keep our eyes on. You can do that by being subscribed to the channel. To conclude today's video, do not trust what the media is telling you. They're not here to help you. They do not tell you about Bitcoin at $200, Ethereum at 10, and they're certainly not going to tell you about XRP right now. They're going to distract you with headlines, lawsuits, and confusion, while institutions in Wales do the complete opposite and prepare their positions. So if you want to keep updated with everything at XRP that needs to be spoken about, make sure you are subscribed to the channel. Now, I don't make videos every single day, but I only make videos and stuff that I believe that needs to be spoken about. So if you made this far in the video, thank you very much for watching. I will see you guys in the next one.